Verzeo, your one-stop solution to everything learning.
So, very good evening, one and all. Hope you are all doing fine. So, welcome to Verzeo Premium Webinar Services. Today, as you know, that we are having a guest. His name is Bharath, who will be taking webinar on the essential components and futuristic trends of digital transformation and how effective execution of digital transformation would be an unbeatable competitive advantage, which is really trending in the current industry. Here, Mr. Bharath is working in Deloitte Consulting as Cloud and Application Modernization Engineer, helping clients to adopt, accelerate their cloud journey, also helping them to digitally transform their workloads and environment to make it cloud native ready. His expertise in cloud product management, digital transformation, cloud migration, modernization, and end-to-end digital transformation. We usually conduct this webinar on a weekly basis on your request. We have got this premium mentor. I would be now handing over to Mr. Bharat.
Hey, thanks, Anand. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that. Such a cordial and a neat introduction. I'm quite overwhelmed. So thank you very much. I see a lot of participants. So I mean, this is one of the best webinars I've been taking with so much of zeal and a lot of participants for this particular webinar. So thank you very much, folks. So let's get started. One thing I would promise is this: what I'm going to speak is what is happening, especially which has been accelerated post-COVID, right? So post-COVID, what we say digital transformation is accelerated right from the enterprise, also from the startup level, from the enterprise to startup. Everywhere you see this buzzword running around. So, but most people doesn't know what exactly it means and what are the essential practices and what are the best trends that one needs to exploit for their organization to make it future ready. So let me go step by step and explain the basic tenets of digital transformation, its definition, essential components, and also the key trends every organization need to exploit. So let me share my screen. So what we are going to speak is we are going to speak about digital transformation, its essential component, and also the future ready trends that every organization should concentrate upon. So these are the objectives that we are going to learn in this particular webinar. So what exactly is digital transformation, right? So though we say that though we all know that there is something extraordinary happening and that every organization should mandatorily, take advantage or imperatively do it, but most people fail to define it, or most people which is subsequently they fail to execute it. So let's understand what digital transformation is at the definition level, and also let's understand what exactly digital transformation is and what is not, right? And thirdly, let's understand the essential components of DX. So DX is the shortened and the most popularized acronym that we all use for digital transformation and the latest trends that we are encountering as far as digital transformation is concerned. So when we say digital transformation, right? So digital transformation in its most basic form defines how a company, for example, let's take Verzeo as example. Let's take any startup, any enterprise, any mid-sized company, irrespective of its industry verticals, irrespective of the customers it's serving, whether it's B2B, B2C, or B2B2C. It's basically in its basic form defines how a company utilizes three pillars, that is people, process, and technology, to provide exponential value to its customers. And that exponential value should be bulletproofed, right? So it shouldn't the evolving. Right now we see a new technology tool that is actually coming to the market in every week, and there's a new buzz every day. But we need to digitally transform the end-to-end process of a company in such a way that it stands against those evolving technological tools and components. Secondly, its prime focus is CX, what we call customer experience. Now, if you see the trends across all the startups, right? People don't like to own things. Instead, they love to rent things. The owning model has shifted to the sharing model. So people love to experience things, not to own and get stuck. So it might be Uber, it might be Olo, or if you take any business model into considerance, right? The owning model has shifted to the sharing model. So when we have this shift, right? So the most important thing that we all have to understand is how do we give our customers the best experience than all our competitors. This is one of the important questions we have to answer. We'll have to ask and try to answer it in the best possible way, and make sure it delivers in the form of value and constant business flow. So what is business, right? So whatever you're either selling it, you're either selling a product or either providing service, but at the same time you're monetizing it, right? So that whole flow should be seamless, smooth, with increased revenue. The revenue should be flowing continuously. Third, digital transformation is all about becoming a truly digital enterprise, an organization that utilizes people, process, technology to rephrase or to re-emphasize, to continuously evolve all the aspects of its business model, not only one aspect. For example, if you take any organization into considerance, every organization will have multiple streams of income and multiple business models. So digital transformation means how do you leverage process, people, and technology to all of its business models and also operating models to completely transform the organization to make it truly digital from the culture perspective and people's aspect. So it basically tells what it is, to in the simplest form, it is utilizing people, process, and technology to continuously evolve all aspects of its business models. So when I say all aspects, it's simple. Like, what does the business offer, and how does it interact with the customers, and how does it operate? So these are the so this is the true meaning of digital transformation. So the evolving aspects of business model, that is how it operates, how a particular business operates, and how it interacts with the customers, and how it operates, what it offers, how it interacts, and what it offers, how it interacts with the customers, and how it operates. So these are the three important facets one needs to concentrate on and try to digital transform, and what it is not, right? So digital transformation is, there is an increased myth in the industry that you bring a new shiny technology and say that you're digitally transformed the organization. So that is exactly not how digital transformation works, right? Now there is a buzzword that everything what people or organization does, they attach it with AI ML. So but the sad thing is 90% of people who speak about AI ML have not understood what AI ML is, because AI ML is garbage without data, right? So we'll have to continuously sort of build models, build frameworks, build processes to make sure we garner those insights from the huge unstructured and structured data we have, to make sure that will provide exponential value to the customers. So it's not just about shiny technology. It's not just about completely changing the tech stack. It's about the end to end, right? It's not just about the process. It's not just about the people. It's about the people, process, technology completely transformed from end to end. So at Deloitte, we have defined the digital transformation as, digital transformation is how we future proof our business, right? For example, now you are running a business. Will it stay relevant with its mindset, culture, and tech stack from 20 years from now? Will it continuously embrace all the changes that technology is throwing at it? So that is an important question that we'll have to ask. So I would define the definition that we have come across, we have coined at Deloitte as, digital transformation is how we future proof a business. For example, shifting legacy customers, business and operating models into a new reality where agility is the norm, human experience is the core focus, technology and data are enablers, and exponential value is the outcome. I repeat, where we are shifting the legacy customers, business and operating models into a new reality where agility is the new normal, human experience is the focus, and technology and data, what we say, right, tech and data are the enablers. They are the catalysts, and the exponential value that we provide to the customers would be the outcome. So third, post understanding what exactly digital transformation is and what it is not, let's understand the five essential components of a digital transformation, right? So these are the five important components that maps the journey to become a data centric organization, right? At first, you see, you have people, then data, then insights, action, results. So you have a bunch of people, and then you have data, and then you take data driven decisions, and then you turn this data into, and then you sort of turn this data into insights, and then you act upon these insights, and eventually you'll get the results. Post getting results, you will again quantify it, the return on investment and the impact and the utility, right? So let's club people and data as digitization, the technology, data and insights as data science, and insights and actions as process, people and culture, and action and results as new way of doing things, right? Once you get the action, and then you will make sure you act on the insights, and you basically better it, you make sure that you better it, you improve it, right? As Edison says, right, there's always a better way to do it, but we'll have to find out. So once we get the insights from the data, we act upon it, and once we act upon it, we are doing something different, something better, and then we measure the results uh, against the insights, against the KPIs, against the metrics we define, right? So the three broader macro differentiations are digitization, analytics, and operations. Under digitization, we have technology, analytics, we have data science, process, culture, people, and operations, we have process, culture, people, and new ways of doing things. So first is people, right? So to explain, digital transformation starts with people, right? So which is a useful reminder that whenever we talk about data, especially valuable data, there are humans at the end of it. For most organizations, the people aspect of transformation refers to the access they have with customers, clients, and employees. Historically, these relationships, what we say, yielded poor or dispersed records. So now when we think about, now when we for example, though people interact with consumers, employees, and clients, right, what do they actually want? The want aspect and what do they actually care about was not clearly articulated through data, right? Now, for example, if you go to London, there is a cab driver, and then they know their customers really well, but do they actually understand or care about what customer really wants? That is something which we'll have to understand. And so what, and if this is the case, right, so in the same way, what a London cab driver or a Persian bistro waiter might have an in-depth knowledge about their customers and what they want, or a small business founder might know the 20 employees could make up their workforce rather well without needing much tech or data. But what happens when the organization or a startup becomes bigger? As an organization gets bigger and bigger, there will be increased levels of hierarchies, there will be increased level of complexity that will be injected to the organization. So in this case, how do we actually collate the data, right? So this is the first essential component every organization has to concentrate in the digital transformation journey. And the second important thing is the data, right? If you want to scale the language, if you want to scale the knowledge you have about your customers, employees, clients, and replicate it across a big organization, so you've gotten a lot of data when you add a relationship with customers, employees, and clients. But how do you replicate it across a big organization or in a far more complex and unpredictable situations? For that, you need to have data that is widely accessible and retrievable records of interactions with customers, employees, and clients. This is exactly where technology can have the biggest impact, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly where, because it is in this process of capturing or creating the digital records, or what they do, who they are, or what they prefer, who the customers are, who they are, and what they prefer. We call this digitization, or the process of datafying human behavior, right? So whatever code we write, that's the source code, and the destination code would be zeros and ones, right? So there are a lot of abstractions that we have built in terms of syntax and other stuff, but eventually it will be zeros and ones. Likewise, we'll have to come up with the process of datafying human behavior, that is translating it into standardized signals of zeros and ones. It is useful to remember this because the real benefits of technology are not hard but soft, that is capturing the valuable data. Third, now you have data about who your customers are, what and what they do and what they care and prefer. The third important is insights. Although data, I think you wherever you see, right, there is a new thing, there is a new uh, trendy quote that you guys all come across saying that data is a new oil, data is the new oil, or AI is the new electricity. But what people forget is, although data has been hailed as a new oil, just like with oil, the value depends on whether we can clean it, refine it, or use it as fuel, something impactful. For example, though we use the oil, right, only after cleaning it, refining, we get petrol, diesel, and all the kerosene that we can use to sort of as a fuel to our transportation. Likewise, without a proper model or a system or a framework or reliable data science, any data is garbage, just like zeros and ones. But with right expertise and tools, data can be turned into insights. This is where technology gives way to analytics, the science that helps us giving meaning to the data. You have a bunch of data. How do you get the meaning of the data, of who your customers really are, what they care, what do they prefer? To the degree where to the degree that we have meaningful insights, a story, a notion that we may be going on, or why, or a model, we will be able to test this model through a prediction, right? So we predict something, and when we have a model and we predict something, and post prediction will we be able to test that. The point here is not to be right, but to find better ways of being wrong, right? All the models are wrong to some degree, but you will have to find a model that's least wrong, right? And fourth important component is, of course, actions. Now you have insights with you, but without acting upon it, it's useless. So the fourth important step is acting upon the insight that you get from the data, that is. But even getting to the insight stage is not enough. As a matter of fact, the most interesting, captivating, and curious insights will go waste without a solid plan to turn them into actions, right? Even with the best AI, data science, analytics, it is up to us humans to work out what to do with a prediction. Suppose that your insights tell you that a certain type of leader is more likely to derail. How will you change your internal hiring and development process, right? Or what if it tells you that customers dislike a certain product, or they don't like a particular feature or an aspect? How will this influence your product development and market strategy? What strategy you come up with? It's a pretty interesting thing, folks. I'm telling you, once you get the insights right, again, to act, it's another big challenge. But only when you act, the impact happens. And suppose you can predict if clients are at risk of going to your competitors, what will you do? What if your client is offering the same service that you're offering at a lesser price? What if your client is offering the same product that you're offering 10 times better? How do you react? How do you would you completely be client obsessed, or you again will you rework your data and try the exact pain points of your customers, and then work on it? So this is exactly where you leadership comes into picture, ladies and gentlemen. So AI can make predictions and data can give us insights, right? But the so what part requires actions, and these actions need the relevant skills, processes, and the change management, right? This is why talent plays a critical role in unlocking your digital transformation. When I say talent, it's the employees, it's the managers, it's the people who work, who give the direction to harness those insights, and then develop a wide and deep moat across your customer experience. And final, ladies and gentlemen, it's results. In the final stage of the process, you can evaluate results or impact, except that this is not the final step. After you evaluate your results, you need to go back to data. The results themselves become a part of a new richer data set, which will be augmented or improved with findings of the process. In this iterative, that is, it's not constant, it keeps, this is a cycle, folks. This is a cycle that keeps running, and the company that comes up with this particular model and then drives it continuously will be a sure shot winner in the marketplace for sure. And in this process, you can develop In this iterative process or retroactive feedback loop, you can enable insights to become more predictive, more meaningful, and more valuable, which gives us more value to the data. In this process, you can enhance and develop people's skills that are needed to produce a great synergy between humans and technology. In short, the critical part of digital transformation is not digital, it is transformation. Our world has changed dramatically post COVID. What is needed is a shift in mindset, culture, and talent that 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 upholds upskilling and reskilling your workforce so that they are future ready. Right. That said, there's one thing that doesn't change, namely the fact that all of this is just a new version of an older task, or a older wine in a new bottle. Nobody is truly a leader if they are in charge or keep things as they are. Leadership is always an argument with the past, with the tradition. It is an essential task of leaders to bridge the gap between the past and the future and truly realize this whole life cycle. So before going to the next important aspect, that is the future trends, I would open for the questions, because we this is an important juncture, and then probably I'll go to the trends, because if I open for the questions towards the end, then it's going to be overwhelming for the participants. So if there are any questions, kindly ping me on chat. I'll answer a couple of them, and then I'll transition to the next part of the webinar, that are trends. We have a question from Jeevan saying, "Sir, is Web3 internet impact the machine learning or not?" Absolutely no. This is a very, first of all, Jeevan, you'll have to understand what Web 3.0 and what machine learning is, right? See, machine learning is actually basically you ingest a lot of data, and there is a model for it, right? And there is a model for it. So what happens is that model will automatically, for example, if you ingest a lot of fruits, right? Automatically that model will identify which is apple, which is orange, which is banana, which is pineapple, right? So you are ingesting a lot of data, and machine learning is a model that learns by itself and delivers insights automatically, right? So these are the important that is machine learning. So what is web 3.0? Web 3.0, it's the newest form of web where everything will be decentralized. There'll be no middlemen in this web 3.0, right? So there'll be individual empowerment and individual ownership, and everything will be transparent and open. This is where we have this is exactly where we have you know blockchain, NFTs, and all these come into picture. So when people ask me, sort of what exactly is machine learning and what exactly is AI, right? So they are interceptably same. They both same. What we do is AI is we build predictive models so that the unstructured and structured data what we inject into the models will self-learn and then give us insights. And for example, there are a lot of for example, there are a lot of I was going through a AI app yesterday where you upload a old pic and it automatically gives you how do you look in future. So it there are a lot of data points that that particular model will identify and then take a call. So these are very it's more of how you understand how you basically sort of go ahead with building great predictive AI models. But in the end, folks, without data, AI and ML is garbage. So you'll have to first get the data and make sure you have to build a lot of predictive models or use a lot of predictive models. There's an amazing tool of Google called Tensor Model Flow, where where it's an open source tool where you build a lot of predictive models to to bring out meaning to the web. All right, folks. So one is to be a digital transformation leader, of course, you will have to know all the basic technologies, that is cloud, DevOps, and data science, and also a part of product management and also strategy. So I would not advise you guys to sort of think of being a digital transformation consultant or a leader at the start of your career. I would advise you to choose any of these particular tech stack or any of these particular analyst roles and then aim to become a digital transformation. Before becoming digital transformation, you need to garner that complete knowledge as far as the enterprise is as far as how an enterprise works, how digital transformation happens, and then go ahead. So next, let's go to the trends. So yeah, there's a lot of buzz around Web 3.0, folks. So I would humbly request to kindly ignore it, because Web 3.2 has just now started, and I am sure there'll be a lot of businesses that will be built across around Web 3.0, but it's still the beginning. We still haven't predicted properly. We don't have the prediction of where the use case of Web 3.0 is going to take us, but for sure this is going to be exciting. Next, the most important aspect is digital transformation trends and best practices. First, we have ZAS, then harnessing of CDP, and the most important trend which every organization has to sort of exploit is multi-cloud native first development. So whatever software development happens now, all the enterprise are going with multi-cloud native first development. It has its own advantages, which I'm going to go one by one. And third is deployment centric DevOps model. And fourth is agile driven organization, right? So when we say agile driven organization, right? So whole organization, right? First of all the members or all the employees of a particular organization should be trained agile, should be made to follow the basic principles of agile, and should also have a thorough knowledge of the two most widely used frameworks of agile, that is Scrum and Kanban for software development. So these are the two important things, and at every facet of the organization I want agile to be implemented, because agile is the most basic building block of digital transformation. Agile is a foundation. Without agile, the other pillars that we are going to build on agile are going to be useless. So agile has to be the basic building block, and agile has to be all the employees, all the workforce basically has to be trained with agile, and make sure everyone adheres to the principles of agile and everyone practices agile. So both from the software development standpoint, both from the cultural standpoint, and both from the mindset standpoint. So now let's concentrate on ZAS. So this is a very, very important concept, folks. I think most of them are already aware of how cloud computing works. So there are, so we have a question like agile driven process, right? So there are a bunch of 12 principles that we have, right? It's always, continuous experimentation, embracing changes, working software is the only progress. So there's a bunch of 12 principles that every organization has to practice and has to implement it, and put it as an interface at all its levels. And next, we have everything as a service model. I hope most of them are aware of how cloud computing works. So in cloud computing, we have three different types of cloud deployment models. The first is SaaS, the first is IaaS, the second is SaaS, and the first is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So what we do is, at three different levels the cloud is being deployed. At IaaS, we will have a lot of uh, control over the infrastructure. At PaaS, the platform will be taken care by the cloud itself. At SaaS, the complete software will be served as a base on a subscription model. But the new trend that's emerging out of digital transformation is everything as a service model, folks, where you basically, so one thing I would like to put forth is, this decade is going to be a decade of SaaS. So we are going to build a lot of SaaS products to serve customers at different facets. So when we say everything as a service model, everything as a service providing, it's like everything as a service model is a new approach where you build products and services for every sub service the customer experiences. Like for example, it's called anything or a service or everything as a service. It basically describes a general category of services related to cloud computing and remote access. It recognizes vast number of products, tools, and technologies that that are now delivered to users as a service over the internet. Especially, any IT function can be transformed into a service for enterprise consumption. Let me say, see, we one of the example is transport as a service. Uber and Ola, what we say, are nothing but fall under transport as a service, right? And then we have hardware as a service, and then we have software as a service, and then we have database as a service, right? And we have networking as a service. So everything can be broken down and can be fed to the and can be fed to the enterprise customers, right? So what are the benefits of SaaS? So there are several benefits of SaaS. First is improving the expense model, speeding new apps and business processes, and shifting IT resources to higher value products. First is improving the expense model. Second, speeding new apps and business processes. And third is shifting IT resources to a higher value project. For example, to to throw some light on that, increasingly IT organizations are turning to an SaaS delivery to streamline operations and free up resources for innovations. Right? It also speaks about the microservices way of building SaaS applications and serving the customers. Right. So in a recent survey by Deloitte, 71% of companies report that SaaS now constitutes more than half of their company IT enterprise architecture. And SaaS provides more users with access to cutting edge technology and democratizing innovation, right? So it's no longer you build one application and that application is super cluttered, where a particular customer has to understand the different facets of that particular application, go through the different features, and then because of its inherent complexity, choose the competitor product. It's now basically breaking down a SaaS into different service models as innovations, as applications, through touch points. So what are the touch points? Through mobile, through web, and then serving the clients. So another most important trend that we are witnessing is customer data platforms, CDP, right? So at this point of time, this is an upcoming trend, and the organization that harnesses CDP will turn out to be a major winner in this era of digital transformation. So what do you mean by CDP? It's a software that aggregates and organizes customer data across a variety of touch points and is used by other software systems and marketing efforts through an API. CDPs collect and structure real-time data into individual and centralized customer profiles. According to the CDP Institute, a vendor neutral organization dedicated to helping marketers manage their customer data, a CDP is defined as a packaged software which is at the center, that creates a persistent unified customer database that is accessible to the other systems. For example, when you are the customer, right, your data is served from different sources, and then there is the CDP platform that will harness that data and then gives out to the different destinations. So customer data platforms build customer profiles by integrating data from variety of first, second, and third party sources. This includes the CRM and DMP, transactional systems, web forms, email and social media activity, website, e-commerce behavior, and more. So it was initially the funnel approach has now been turned into a flywheel approach, folks. So I'll tell you the different types of CDP. So the reason why CDPs are playing a huge part now is CDPs exists because customer data has become crucial to both businesses and marketing operations. So what does customer data exactly mean? Customer data is information consumer leaves behind as they use internet and interact with companies online. For example, to join this webinar, you have given or you have left Verzeo your email ID, your phone number, your name, your first name and last name. So that is the customer data. And this is not just for webinar, to whichever website or application you interact over the internet, right? There is a certain part of data that a customer leaves. So that is the key part of customer data platform, right? So when you go to a particular e-commerce website, you log in, you give your login credentials, you give your website, you give your email address, you update your number, you give your number detail. You also add items to the wish list. You also add items to the sort of cart. So that will be, you also give the information of the products you view and the products you're interested. So these are the different facets. There are four main kinds of customer data that CDPs collect and organize. First is identity data. Second is descriptive data. Third is quantitative or behavioral data. And fourth is qualitative data, right? The first is when you say identity data, it's name information. That is your first name, second name, your demographic, that is your age, gender, your location information, such as your address, city, and zip code, your contact information, such as your phone number and email address, your social media information, such as Twitter handle and LinkedIn address, your professional information as your designation and company, and your account information. So when we come to the second important type of data, that's descriptive data. It's your career level information, your lifestyle information, your family information, and your hobby information. And fourth is your quantitative, that is your transactional information, your email information, your online activity information, the websites you visit, the websites you don't visit, and the website you like, and the time you spend on that particular website. Everything is a CDP, folks. So the CDP is basically a software which receives data from first, second, third party sources, and then will categorize it to the different destinations and eventually can be made utilized of. And then finally we have qualitative data, right, such as motivation, the motivation, your information, your attitude of of that basic sort. So yeah, and the most fourth important point is of course DevOps doesn't end with delivery, right? So in digital transformation era, digital transformation means DevOps. Without cloud and DevOps seamlessly integrated, we cannot call a system digitally transformed, right? So at DevOps, we have the development and the operations, right? So at development, we write code, we build software, and post that we'll have to operate it and make sure that particular software is dumped into production and made user usable ready, UUR. So in organizations with digital transformation the projects, 19% consider CI/CD strategically important. 70% of organizations with digital transformation projects are using containers. First is changing how we develop apps, moving to Agile, exploring containers and microservices architectures, moving to deliver apps to production more frequently. That is 30% of NetOps, that is the network operations, agree. That is 43% of DevOps who told us app deployment were not frequent enough. And fourth, we have an automating and orchestrating IT systems and processes. That is 50% of network ops whose organizations have embraced DevOps are implementing continuous development. So everything, see, right from what I say is the software you develop should be hosted in a version control system like Git or GitLab, and should be truly DevOps. There should be a separate continuous integration pipeline built and a continuous delivery pipeline built, and all the code checks, code scanning, bug resolution, everything should be properly set at the different stages and continuously run. So without that, we cannot say it's digital transformed, right? So DevOps should be completely implemented. So when I say DevOps doesn't end with delivery, what I mean is it's the first is delivery is putting your code into production, making it and turning it go live. Deployment is making sure your code is user usable ready. Fourth, multi-cloud native development. So if you see the diagram, there is cloud infrastructure, and inside that you are deploying your application as containers, and that is attached to a modern design microservices, containers, backing services, and automation, right? So what is cloud native application? So cloud native has changed the dynamics of software industry and how people think of deploying and operating software applications. So as per Wikipedia, cloud native computing is an approach in software development that utilizes cloud computing to build and run scalable applications in modern dynamic environments such as public, private, and hybrid clouds. In short, it lets you build and run application based on cloud computing delivery model. Let's develop a little background on what cloud computing is. It refers to the on-demand availability of resources like cloud storage, compute power, and database services over the internet via pay as you go model. Note that cloud like delivery is not limited to public environment. It is equally appropriate for private clouds. What it essentially focuses on is how applications are created and deployed, not where. The where part is not to focus. As per Cloud Native Computing Foundation, we have a cloud native computing foundation as CNCF. Cloud native computing uses an open source software stack to be containerized, dynamically orchestrate, and microservices oriented. So to understand the key components that are different, there are a lot of terms that need more discussion and clarity before we go ahead. So let's understand what DevOps is. DevOps is a combination of software development approach where the dev and the IT operation are synchronously merged. It is a cross-functional culture that promotes faster delivery of high quality software. And then, as you guys are already aware, we have the container first approach. That is, a container is basically an approach that packages everything needed to execute an application. For example, virtual machine, application, server, and the application itself into an executable code. So you basically package the code and all its dependency. The container is then run into a virtual environment with the benefit of portability as application becomes independent of its environment. It can be taught as a computing medium for developing individual microservices. Containers come with an advantage of horizontal scaling, where multiple instances of a container can be added or removed based on the user demand. With this comes the next important point of concern, that is as to how we manage the current system load and decide whether to start additional nodes or shut down the already ones. This brings us the most important part of orchestration, that is the orchestration and microservices. Let's understand what orchestration and microservices is. Orchestration is basically being a conductor of managing the different components of a software system. It also monitors the system and automatically starts and shutdowns the container in order to manage the load between active applications. When I say microservices, as the name suggests, a microservice is a small and largely decoupled service. Each microservice provides a small application with a well-defined boundary and API which is easy to operate by a small team. Many such microservices together constitute the overall functionality of the team. So when I to give an example of what exactly microservices, initially the older way of building applications was building application as a monolithic architecture. When I say monolithic architecture, the whole software would get coded in one would get coded and all the features would be a part of it and then going live. Now it's no longer that, because it had its own drawbacks of for example, of the time to market was getting late, and to bring the whole system to the market versus building dividing the whole system into different parts and then taking the market was actually seen as an advantage. So which is why it's no longer the monolithic architecture. Let me give Amazon as an example. The monolithic architecture was completely building the Amazon, right? The whole website into a single form of code and then going live. So that used to take years, and by the time we pass years, the customer's expectation and the customer's demand would change. And then came this microservices architecture where the whole application would get divided into different parts. For example, your login page, your payment page, your wishlist page, your Amazon Pay page, your payment page, your cards page, everything would get divided into different components, and each of those microservices would get deployed to a pod, and then that would be coded separately. So if you want to update a particular feature, you need not schedule a downtime and then update or patch the system. You can just do it by updating a particular part of microservice and then keeping the whole application live, right? So this is the new approach that's been followed, and these are the most important trends. So thank you very much, folks, for the patient listening. So I hope I have answered and made you guys clear how completely changed the game and how every company has to leverage digital transformation by following the essential components and also exploiting the trends which I just now explained. So I would be open for any questions. So any questions, folks? Like I've always told, right? So as far as a technological standpoint, you can either choose cloud, DevOps, or software development. And from the strategic point, you can choose how an organization is structured. And also from product standpoint, you can choose how product is managed, how product is looked after, and how products are built. So if you focus skills on these three processes, and also a bit of good soft skills like presentation, communication skills, and conveying your idea clearly, building up a team, I think all this adds up to what we call digital transformation. I think digital transformation leader, digital transformation can uh, you know uh, that should be end goal and not the starting. No, this is not related to marketing, folks. Digital transformation is completely related to changing the organizational behavior from technology, processes, and people. What is a process? A process follows a set of steps, and people are skilled employees to achieve a certain task. Technology is basically a tool that solves a particular problem and can say and can scale the solution to an exponential level. So it's not related to marketing, it's related to tech, people, and processes. Any more questions, folks? So starting a career in cloud is actually a very good thought. So what I would say is, I would request you, Akshay, to basically understand the foundations, go to AWS website, understand the basic tenants. For example, what exactly is cloud? How cloud? What are different types of cloud models, which I just now said, right? IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and what are the basic principles of cloud, and then take up AWS cloud practitioner certification, or and then go ahead with cloud and then start your career. Data analyst role to start your approach, to the approach I would give to go ahead with data analyst role is first learn Python coding. First learn Python, and also research of the different libraries that are available for data analysis, and then learn the basics of data. What is structured data, what is unstructured data, and what are the tools that are available in the market. With this, you're good enough to actually crack an interview. First is learn Python and learn the popular libraries of Python that are used for data analysis. I no, Pankaj, you can't go ahead to cloud because the models require huge amount of data that cannot be that sort of projects cannot be done with free trial accounts. Very important questions, Mahati. I appreciate it. So, how do you plan a change? How do you communicate a change, right? I think when I explain the five essential components of digital transformation, right? First is people. When I say people, people interact with different clients, employees, and customers. So, when they interact, right, they have to make sure nothing should be verbal. Everything should be either written, or there should be different systems for them to take up the surveys or their likes and preferences, and then store it as a data. Third important aspect is turning those data into insights. Fourth important aspect is turning those insights into actions. Fifth is turning the and then the most important aspect is turning those actions into results and measuring them. So I hope so. I would ping my LinkedIn ID. So if there are any more questions, you can shoot me, or you can also send me a LinkedIn request. So and there's also a feedback open. So I would be always happy to guide you at any part of your career, folks. So what I wanted you to learn, what I want important language to learn, data scientist, Python. Second, R for data visualization. First, Python. So I would always be happy to advise or guide you guys in any way. Do connect me on LinkedIn, and then I'll be very happy to. I hope you guys have enjoyed the session and have understood what techful, of course, to make sure you use the latest technologies, second to none. You use the latest technologies to saw and to bring exponential value to the customers and scale your solutions at planet scale. Right? You have to always think global and use the latest technologies in every field available in the market. So yeah, the you know the session is open. The feedback is open, folks. So kindly uh, take it. Thank you very much, Sumant. I totally appreciate it. I hope I was Zakat. Thank you very much. So basically, you guys have to understand how where the industry is moving, and then take a call on your professions. So if you do not know where the industry is going, where how does things look in 5 years or 10 years down the line, guys will not fail to understand which career to choose. So digital transformation is going to be there for the next decade or so. So I would humbly request you guys to choose your career that will go in sync with digital transformation. Absolutely, Vishal. Forget about data science. Data science is a university. You need to have 5 to 6 years of experience. You need to first be a proper data analyst, learn things, and then data scientist. I've seen people with 10, 15 years choosing data scientist, and you can eventually become a chief data scientist. Your responsibility would be to completely harness data and come up with insights. There's a feedback form open, folks. So I would humbly request you guys to kindly give your honest feedback so I could also improve in my coming sessions. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I have Anand. I think it's time to wrap up the wrap the great session.
Yeah.
I have pinged my LinkedIn ID, so you guys can connect or shoot me a connection request. I'll be always be happy to help. So the reason is without knowing the destination, you can't blindly follow things, right? So digital transformation is what every organization is taking seriously, and that's certain to happen, especially after the COVID, right? So every organization has to rethink their business model because it's no longer offices. You just have to make sure everything happens through the software, right? Everything, right, from the cultural standpoint, everything should happen. So this is digital transformation is just at its nascent stage and just at its baby stage. So it's going to grow big in the next 2 decades. So I what humbly request is, I've already explained what skills that needs to be focused on, so kindly choose that one skill set. And whatever you choose, right, at the start of the career, please don't go wide, go deep. Choose data, cloud, or business analyst, or strategic analyst, or even anything of that sort. Make sure there's a lot of depth you add at the start of career. So thank you very much. Over to you, Anant.
Thank you, sir. I had a very educative session. So,
Pleasure.
yeah. I would like to express my gratitude to one and all present on this webinar. Thank you for contributing your time, Mr. Bharath, and making this webinar a great success. So, guys, participants, there is an upcoming webinar that is on journey from NIT IMM graduate to a strategy professional at CRED by Pratmesh Joshi. I'm sure you'll all be interested to attend the webinar. So you can all end the meeting. If you have any doubts, sir will be available to explain things.
Yeah, folks, thank you very much, Anant. Big shout out to you for actually driving this and turning it to a huge success. And I hope I was energetic, passionate throughout the session, and I hope I have given the direction and approach to all my all my students, or all who have joined the webinar. And thanks for driving it so seamlessly and perfectly, Anant. So huge shout out to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's keep in touch and many more webinars to come. Thank you, folks.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day. Guys, may it be posted on YouTube. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Visit Verzeo.com, subscribe to our channel to know more.